Hello, Powers Resource Center clients, colleagues, and friends. My name is Tara Powers. I am the CEO of Powers Resource Center. And this week, my focus in terms of Tara's tips is really based on requests that I've been getting from clients to work with them on helping them transition to a remote first work culture. So what does that mean? Well, that basically means a lot of the clients that I'm talking to, new and clients I've been working with for a long time, are realizing that this work from home thing, we might be able to keep doing it. It actually is saving us a ton of money. People are productive, sometimes surprisingly productive, more productive than they were in the office. And a lot of employees are asking for it to continue doing it, right? It's working. So I'm getting a lot of calls, and we are putting together some plans to help companies transition, do a good transition. Like, what does that mean to transition to this remote first work culture? And there are really 4 levers that need to be taken into consideration: culture, HR, legal, and technology. And so I'm going to go over a few of those things today, and I'm going to help you understand the 4 phases that you need to be thinking about, what that transition might look like in reality. And of course, we're going to give you some support tools to help you with that as well. But one of the things that I want to say is many of you that might be watching this are really adapting to this remote work culture fairly well. Maybe I'm sure there's a few bumps in the road. You know that your managers need some training and support, and teams maybe need to revisit or come up with some new agreements. But it is important to recognize that this is a transition and transformation in the way that you do work that can impact every aspect of your business. So you do want to take it seriously. You want to be proactive at setting it up in a way that's going to work for everyone, and long term is going to allow you to enjoy all the benefits of working remotely. So I'm going to take a guess that some of your goals with this remote first work culture are to be as productive and engaged as a remote workforce as you possibly can, to protect and secure your company infrastructure and data, to implement best practices regarding working from home and the policies associated with that, to get your virtual leaders and teams the training, the resources, and the support they need to be rock stars and thrive in this new remote environment. Our goals at PRC are to help you prioritize, execute, and certainly understand all of the cultural and communication requirements that are going to help you be successful, the best practices around working from home, human resource policies and procedures, and of course, technology and security requirements. When it comes to legal, we recommend that you get advice from your either internal legal team or certainly the lawyers that you have already in place with your company. So let's talk about some of these phases, these 4 phases that we really feel you need to be aware of to transition to your remote first work culture. And I put together a handy little infographic. I don't know if you've been following me. I love my infographics. So you'll get one of those. But the first thing that you need to do is build alignment. Build alignment across the executive team. Now, here's what I'm running into already with several of my clients. The executive team can look at the numbers, they can look at the data, they can see the cost savings, they can see the ability to recruit more people outside of their local area. They can see how it's going to perhaps keep good people that might want to move, they can't take the commute anymore. There's a lot of cost reduction, cost savings, and also, we're going to be attracting and retaining the best and the brightest if we consider moving to this remote first work policy. So the executives I'm talking to have alignment that in terms of financial data, this is a good business decision. This looks great on paper. Where they're getting stuck is the mindset shift that needs to occur. There is a mindset shift in how we do work, how we assess high performance, how we assess if people are actually doing their work, getting things done. All of that has to change. And so if an executive team says, yes, let's do this, let's move forward based on this data, there is more work to be done. We need to help you as a leadership and executive team align around what does that actually mean in terms of the way we lead, and are we willing to do what needs to be done? Are we willing to role model and lead the way in terms of how we measure performance, how we connect, how we communicate, how we document, right? How we are transparent. All of those things need to shift. Transparency is a big requirement when you are a remote first workforce. So building alignment around those things, not just alignment around financial data and cost savings and, retention and hiring and all of those things, but also mindset and willingness to lead the way. Second phase, or second thing to pay attention to transition to this remote workforce, is you have to take inventory of where you're at today. We need to establish some baseline measures around the people you have in place, the processes you have in place, the applications that you use from technology standpoint that are currently supporting your old business model. Are they going to support the new business model, or at least the new model of working from home? So we have to take an inventory and get that baseline measure in place. We also need to get a baseline around your current policies and procedures from an HR standpoint. How do they need to shift? What are the new policies we need to put in place regarding working from home? And some things that you probably need to consider is, how are remote workers going to track the results? What will progress look like? How will it be measured? How will we hold employees accountable, or how will they stay accountable? When will meetings be? What tools will we agree to use for communication? What are our common or core work hours going to be? Do we need to take different time zones into consideration? How do we expect employees to stay connected with one another? So these are all policies that you need to revisit, in addition to ergonomics, safety at home. Do people have the right resources they need to be effective? All of those things. Inclusion. How do we ensure in a remote environment that people feel included and that everyone has a voice? So very important that we're looking at our inclusion, equity, and diversity efforts in a remote environment. So all of those things we need to take inventory. Where are we now? And of course, phase 3 is we actually perform a gap analysis, but I'll get to that in a minute. The other key things that you need to get a baseline around is, what are our current engagement, trust, and communication levels? How do employees feel about it? How do leaders feel about it? Are leaders confident in terms of their skill in leading remotely? How well do they collaborate currently? And if you're going to do this long term, what are the things that probably need to shift? What's the training, the coaching, and the support that they need? IT assets. Do we have all the right technology in place today? And will that continue to support us in a remote work environment? And that includes software, hardware, mobile, all of those things. And then a current assessment of your security strategy, your continuity and recovery plans, and all of the vulnerability that might exist if you move to remote long-term. All of those assessments need to happen to kind of understand, where are we at? Keep in mind, we've been reacting up until this point, and now we're 5 months into the pandemic, and companies are starting to say, okay, we can do this. Do it well, do it thoughtfully, do it intentionally, and make sure that you have the right steps in place. So step 1, alignment. Step 2, establish baseline and take inventory. Step 3, or phase 3, is the gap analysis. So we need to actually perform a gap analysis between our baseline, our current inventory of what we have, and what is needed to create a thriving remote work environment. And of course, there are certainly some best practices we can help you with there. Once we establish those gaps, we need to revisit some priorities with the executive team to figure out, where should we be spending our time first? Is it technology? Do we need to put the HR policies in place first? Should we immediately jump in and get our managers trained up? Should we do some of this at the same time, right? So we need to identify priorities, deadlines, goals, and make adjustments to our execution plan and our timeline for truly transitioning to this remote first culture. And then the final phase is, of course, execution. And we highly recommend that you do this using an agile or iterative approach. So what does that mean? That means that you pick one business unit to work with on this. You roll it out. You roll out the policies, the training, the technology. You roll it out with one business unit. You gather their feedback. You constantly are asking for their input. You're recognizing what's working, what's not, what's clunky, what's difficult, what's challenging, and you're continually updating and changing your approach so that when you do it with the next team, it's better, and it gets better every single time, right? That's the agile approach, and that is the best way to approach this transition, especially if you have hundreds or thousands of employees, right? Don't try to do this all at once. And then once you've dialed that in, you've incorporated that feedback, you've improved, then you roll it out to another business unit and another. And eventually, when you have it down, when you have found the secret sauce that works, then you can start doing it with several business units at a time. So those are our 4 phases that we recommend to help you transition to a remote first work culture, building alignment across the executive team, not just financial alignment, but also mindset and support. Number 2, establishing baseline and taking inventory. Number 3, performing that gap analysis, where we are, where we need to go, reprioritizing where we should start first. And then number 5, we're rolling this out one business unit at a time. And of course, we're here to help you with that. We've assembled an amazing team of high-performing consultants in each of these areas, except for the legal, to help companies actually roll out this new remote first work culture. And I provided you some tools to help you with that. I also want to let you know a couple exciting things that are coming up the end of this month. Number 1, we are launching our Remote Teams virtual coach app to help all of you that find yourselves with hundreds and thousands of team members working remotely. This app is based on brain science, and it helps people get just-in-time feedback and coaching on their phone to help them be excellent, amazing, thriving remote team members. So if you are interested, we'd love to sign you up for a demo with me at virtualteamapp.com. You can check it out there and then sign up for a demo, and I will be the one doing those demos and being very excited to talk to you about that new technology. The second thing we have coming up is a virtual live DISC certification. So if you are thinking about DISC certification, or you're noticing that your remote teams could use some help with their communication strategy and style, this is a great opportunity to get certified and have someone on your team be able to then go out and help your remote teams learn to communicate more effectively. And you'll find some more information about that on this page. And then finally, we also are excited to let you know that September 16th, I am launching my second book with Wiley on this whole new remote world of work, and that is Working from Home. It is in the popular Dummies series, but it is written for employees who are finding themselves working from home for the first time and perhaps struggling, and it's full of great tools and tips and resources of how to stay sane, keep balanced, and maintain just productivity and engagement. So I hope that you will check that out. Stay posted, keep watching our videos and getting our emails, and certainly find us on LinkedIn, and you'll be sure to know when that book is launched. Stay safe, stay healthy, reach out with any questions. And I just want to thank you, all of you who have been watching these videos and letting me know that they're making a difference and you're watching them with your team. It really is so important to me. So I appreciate that. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.